Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live daily on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. As a reminder, the focus of my presentation and the focus of the Options with Doug chat channel in Discord is options, order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. And I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day
Stop ESH3 CME sell 475.
as well as a directional bias. The second step in my process is execution, and I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis and for entries and exits for setups. And questions and comments are welcome. That's on topic questions and comments. And please post your questions and comments in the Options with Doug chat channel in Discord and the chat in YouTube. And I'll be watching both for your questions and comments. All right. And what I want to talk about today, first of all, go over news items, economic data, events, and earnings. Then we'll go through our positional analysis and then talk about setups. So first of all, and let me go into, I need to make a change to the setting here in Bookmap. Let's see, where is it? Turn these alerts off so I don't hear them. Okay, so what I want to talk about today, economic data, events and earnings, positional analysis, and then setups. So first of all, the news items, economic data, not much this week. So the only economic data of significance is on Friday, the consumer sentiment at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And of course, today there was the Powell speech, and we're seeing the impact of that right now. Very interesting. Reversal lower, jump higher, reversal lower. So there's the market. AP or BP before Powell, and then AP after Powell. And most of my prep and analysis was done BP before Powell. Okay, so again, the Powell speech, 12:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Obviously, initially traders interpreted what he had to say as bullish, and then he must have said something else, and they reversed lower. So for the rest of the week, so that's the primary event of the week. There are some other Fed speakers throughout the week, and then some minor earnings. The stocks that I look at, Disney, Uber, Lyft, PayPal, all reporting this week. But the big earnings reports were for the stocks that I follow for last week. So next week there is some significant data and events. So on 2/14, the CPI, so that's a week from today, Tuesday, CPI report 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Then on Wednesday 2/15, that's the VIX expiration. And then on Friday is the monthly options expiration. So that's Friday the 17th. That's the February monthly expiration. Okay, so let's go through our positional analysis now. And let's start. So this is Bookmap, and we'll drill down to this. So I want to start with a longer term chart. So this is SPX in Thinkorswim, and it's a 1 hour chart, 20-day 1 hour chart, showing this nice uptrend in SPX. And what I'm showing are the Spotgamma levels for today in these horizontal, excuse me, in the horizontal red line. So these are provided for Spotgamma subscribers. You have to manually update these in a ThinkScript, but anyway, these are the levels for today. So that's the 20-day chart showing the levels in play. There's the 4200 SPX 4200 call wall and the 3900 put wall way down below. So the levels that were in play today were the 4100 level and then around 4150 to 4160. All right, so let's go in and look at another Thinkorswim chart in a smaller time frame. And I'm doing this just to show the levels. So that takes out everything else. It's just price and levels. So this is, again, BP, AP, before Powell, after Powell, and this level is not shown on the chart. I drew this line. This was a support resistance line that was noted in the Spotgamma AM Founders note, and SPX jumped up to that level and then reversed lower. So that is the SPX in a 1 minute chart in Thinkorswim. All right, let's go take a look at Bookmap now. Now one reason I'm looking at those charts is because the SPX levels are accurate. Those are the actual SPX levels. What I'm showing here in Bookmap, I have two columns of levels. This is the Spotgamma cloud notes that are provided for Spotgamma subscribers. They're updated daily automatically. Right now, Spotgamma is using a 15-point difference between SPX and SPY. So these levels are showing SPX levels. There's the 4150, and also combo levels, SPY and SPX, and they're converted to equivalent ES numbers. And again, Spotgamma is using a 15-point difference, and that difference is smaller today. It looked like it was around 12 or 13 point, or around 12 points, maybe even a little bit lower. So it gradually decreases over time. So these levels are shown a little bit high. And in this column, this C levels column, these are my cloud notes. And I'm showing the support and resistance levels that were noted in the Spotgamma AM Founders note, and I'm sticking with their 15-point difference. I'm also showing big ES round numbers, and then important SPY levels, and these are correct. So there's the SPY 410 key gamma strike and the 409 volatility trigger. So those are the levels on my chart in Bookmap. And as we saw, the important level today was that SPX 4160 resistance level. And notice this morning all of the volume concentrated at this SPY 409 and SPX 4100 level. Okay, so those are the levels that are in play for today, and shifts on levels, there really weren't any. So recall yesterday was a very narrow trading range consolidation after a large move last week, and there was only one minor shift in levels. That was the SPX volatility trigger shifted up from 4020 to 4060. And then for QQQ, the volatility trigger shifted down 1 point from 304 to 303. So pretty insignificant. All right, let's take a look at the gamma levels. So we'll start with S&P 500. This is SPX. And this is the absolute gamma levels. This is the zero line. So what we're looking at here is positive gamma or call gamma shown by the black bars, that's above the zero line, and negative gamma or put gamma below the zero line, that's shown by the teal bars. So this is showing for SPX that 4,000 is still the absolute gamma strike. That's very obvious, the strike with the largest absolute gamma. And then the 3,900 put wall is down here, and the 4,200 call wall is up above. So the put wall is the strike with the largest net negative gamma, and that can be expected to act as support. And the 4,200 level, the call wall is the strike with the largest net positive gamma, and that can be expected to act as resistance. So one thing to note here for SPX, again, here's the 4,000 level, and note the call gamma above. So positive gamma, and SPX is still in a positive gamma. That's market maker's position on the gamma curve is still positive. And for SPY, .410 is the key gamma strike. Strike with the largest absolute gamma. 400 is the put wall, and that's the strike with the largest net negative gamma, and that's pretty obvious. And then the call wall is up here at 420. So again, it's notable the call gamma above the 410 level, and a good amount of put gamma or negative gamma below that level. So SPY is still in a market maker's position on the gamma curve for SPY is still negative, in a negative gamma environment. All right, let's take a look at QQQ. So for QQQ, the key gamma strike 300, and that is also the put wall, and then 310 is the call wall. So QQQ, market maker's position on the gamma curve, is slightly negative now. And again, it's somewhat notable that all the put gamma below, call gamma above the 300 level. All right, so let's take a look at data now. And just a reminder, I'm doing all this. This is normally what I do before the market opens. This is my preparation or planning positional analysis. And I'll go over this and then we'll start looking at setups. So here's gamma notional. This is market maker's position on the gamma curve. SPX in this left column here, shown as that's positive, SPY, and then QQQ on the far right. So all of these levels shifted down or more negative from yesterday. So yesterday, SPX gamma notional was 371 and shifted down to 256 today. And SPY gamma notional yesterday was minus 561 and shifted more negative to minus 776. And then yesterday, gamma notional for QQQ was minus 9, and today it's minus 83. So these numbers were, on Friday, they were even more positive. So from Friday to Monday, the shift has been negative, and then from Monday to Tuesday, the shift has been more negative. So shifting down on the gamma curve for all these instruments. And what that means in a negative gamma environment, negative market maker's position on the gamma curve, let's say for SPY there with minus 776, that means that traders are long puts, market makers are short puts, and as price drops, they have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. And then when price increases, their delta exposure decreases and they can buy back those short futures. And then on the other hand, in a positive gamma environment, that means that traders are short calls. This is what Spotgamma assumes, that traders are short calls, market makers are long calls, and as price increases, they have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. So in a positive gamma environment, they are trading against price, and in a negative gamma environment, they are trading with price. So positive gamma, that tends to reduce volatility, and in a negative gamma environment, that tends to increase volatility since market makers are trading with price. All right, let's take a look at the Vanna charts. And this is a graphical representation of what I was just talking about. So the way to interpret this, market makers' delta notional or delta exposure is shown on the vertical axis. Price is shown on the horizontal axis. And then this green line is the current expiration, and that is showing how market makers' delta notional changes with changes in price and implied volatility. And that is the Vanna effect, the change in implied delta as implied volatility changes. So for SPX, again, recall it's in a positive market maker's position on the gamma curve for SPX is positive, so their delta notional increases as price increases and they have to sell futures. So again, trading against price. And then the black line shows how that delta exposure changes as time passes, and that's the charm effect. And charm is the change in delta as time passes. So for SPY, it's just the opposite. A negative gamma environment, and the the gamma, this Vanna model shifts higher as price decreases. And then for QQQ, it's pretty neutral. All right, one other thing to look at. This is my little spreadsheet that I keep every day, tracking the key gamma strike for all the stocks on my watch list. And I track the current key gamma strike, that's the key gamma strike for today, and then I compare that with the key gamma strike from yesterday, and then I color code these either green or red. So red means that that key gamma strike dropped from the previous day, and green means that it increased from the previous day. So notice the sharp difference between yesterday and today. So yesterday there were this is based on the drop in the market on Friday. So this was the current key gamma strikes for yesterday, for Monday. And then notice after the consolidation yesterday, the only key gamma strike that shifted lower was Google. Okay, so that's my positional analysis, and based on all this, just totally neutral. Not, looking for a little bit more range than yesterday, and of course this is all complicated by Powell speaking, or complicated, influenced by Powell speaking. But before that, my thesis for the day was neutral. There was no significant changes in levels for the S&P 500, QQQ, or all these stocks on my list. So more of just a wait and see. Watch what traders are doing. Watch Hero and see what options traders are doing to make any decisions. Okay, let's take a look at some setups. And the last time I checked, Hero was not working. So that happens sometimes in times of volatility. I'm going to move this over to another screen and see if I can get it going again. If not, we'll just have to look at setups from the morning, which is pretty much what I have anyway. So I'm just going to refresh this, see if it's working now. Okay, it does seem to be working. I've got about the right time, so let me move this back over. Okay, so setups. And again, what I have, I did my prep for this in the morning, and there were some good setups in the morning. So let's start with Apple. And what I'm looking at is, this is the full day for Apple. Separate out puts and calls. And I was looking at this orange line showing that traders are buying calls. It looks like in waves as price continues to go higher. All right, let's take a look at Bookmap. And we'll get to the S&P 500. So here's Apple. And recall traders were buying calls. And there were, nice thing about trading stocks, these targets are very visible Let me just move. I'm going to get rid of these little widgets. This is the market pulse indicator. So showing strong uptrend in the morning as traders are buying calls with the price targets above, and it looks like it took the Powell speech to get price up to that level, to those levels, the 154 level and then the 155 call wall here. And the thing to note about stocks is that liquidity often comes in right at the cash open and they just stay there until they get filled. And these high liquidity levels, especially at Spotgamma levels, make great price targets. So remember, traders buying calls, price targets above, fairly bullish order flow, plenty of green dots, rising CVD, and I just look for pullback entries. Notice all the green dots here, the pullback and test of 152. Pullback to VWAP right before Powell. All right, so that's Apple. And the next was AMD. Let's look at Let's go look at Hero. Actually, for AMD, and I'm just going to go in alphabetical order here. All right, so here's AMD, and one thing to note. Well, let's see. So traders are selling calls and buying puts, so they were this morning. So I'm looking at the morning session here, and just the opposite of Apple. Market maker hedging flow is, oops, got the wrong thing. Bearish, negative delta, and prices moving lower. Let's go take a look at Bookmap now. There's AMD, and this is not a large move, kind of overshadowed by the AP move. So there's the trend lower down to the 83 hedge wall. So about 1.5 points from the open. Down to the 83 hedge wall, all the liquidity there. All right, then the next, Amazon. And let's go take a look at Hero now. Amazon. And in the morning for this down move, there initially was not a confirmation. Traders were buying calls and selling puts, and then they briefly stopped buying calls. They sold calls. Then they started buying calls again. And price reversed higher a few minutes later, somewhere between 10:10 and 10:15. So nice call divergence long setup in Amazon. Let's go take a look at Bookmap again. So there's the long setup. And notice the shift in order flow here. The absorption and all the green dots coming in. The green dots are market buy orders, aggressive buyers coming in as price dropped down to the 99 level. Price breaks that trend line, reverses higher, makes it up to the $100 level. That's his put wall and the key gamma strike. So an important level. And not a lot of range for this up move, but clearly signaled with a call divergence. Traders start buying calls, and then price moved up a few minutes later, and confirmed by order flow here again with all the green dots and the trend break, with a target at the 100 level, key gamma strike above. Let's go back and take a look at Hero again. So again, a pretty clear divergence there. Traders start buying calls, and then price starts moving higher as traders start selling puts. That's shown by the rising blue line. So rising orange line, traders are buying calls. Rising blue line, traders are selling puts, and price starts to move higher. All right, the next one is Coinbase. And it looks like that's driven by puts. So traders buying puts, not doing much with calls. So about 8 times the delta volume, delta 16.7 versus 2.2 for calls. So 16.7 for puts, 2.2 for calls. Puts are driving. It's pretty obvious graphically. And let's take a look at Coinbase here. So I just moved this over to my main computer today. So I have not had time to update the C levels on this chart. So I don't have the levels shown on this chart yet. But strong downtrend in the morning. And let's take a look at, let's go back, take a look at Hero and see if there are any. So 70 is the key gamma strike. So here's the key gamma strike, this level right here. And that looks like the area, highest volume, concentrated. Oops. Volume concentrated at that 70 level and just below. Let's go back and take a look at Hero. And Coinbase is a stock that has been in play recently, and pretty much always shows a pretty strong correlation between options trades and options trades hedging flow and price action. All right, now let's get to the S&P 500. So this is what I saw this morning, and it took a long time to play out, this divergence higher. So price chopped around quite a bit until finally moving higher around 11 o'clock, something like that. So again, took quite a long time to play out. Let's take a look at Bookmap. We'll start with ES. So here's all the chop. I'm going to zoom in on the BP section. So here's all the chop this morning. And the way I saw this, there was prices making lower highs and then broke that. And then did one final retest. This final leg down, see all the pink dots in there. Aggressive sellers reversing down from around the 4100 level. Then aggressive buyers come in and start to move price higher and starting a stop run. That's shown by this rising yellow line. Something triggered this move higher, and then all these stops fired off, driving the move higher. So 957 contracts were buy stop orders. And then one clue that this might move higher were these iceberg orders. That's shown with this small blue symbol, E693 contracts, iceberg orders, 693 contracts executed. And iceberg orders are orders that large traders use to hide their size. So that was a good clue that price might start to move higher. So then just watching the order flow and the price structure and waiting for that break higher. All right, that's an ES, again, BP. Let's take a look at SPY. And pretty much the same move. I'm going to zoom in. And remember, these levels are more accurate on this chart. I checked the SPX to SPY ratio today, and I have noted the key SPX levels on my chart, and again they're more accurate today. So this is showing the trend break, then a final retest of the SPX 4100 and the C5 level, the combo 5 level, just below that. That's shown by the blue line and the white line there, and there's that final retest before the price moves higher. And good for about a point and a half or so, maybe 2 points. And SPY. So there's SPY. So price went up to the 415 level, and actually I'm not sure why that's shown in. That should not be white. That's just a big round number level, 415. But price reversed at that level, and you can see the shift from green dots to pink dots. So absorption at that level, and aggressive sellers come in and start to move price lower. So prices move from the 415 level, well actually from the 410 key gamma strike to the 415 level, and then down to the 408 C5 level, did another retest, and now is moving higher again. So I would imagine that Powell has finished speaking at this point, and now the dip buyers have come in. So this is one reason I like to look at a SPY chart. It's often a little bit easier to read. It doesn't have as much information as ES. And SPY, ES, and SPX, well, the S&P 500 responds to SPX levels and SPY levels, round number levels, quite frequently. So that's why it's important. That's why I have both on my charts. All right, let's go back and take a look at Hero now. So there was the morning setup, the divergence that took a while to play out. Price responding later. And let's zoom in now and see what traders are doing. I'm going to change to a shorter look back period. Let's change to 30 minutes. So that really doesn't provide much clarity. Yeah, it does, if we get in close enough. So here, right before Powell started speaking, traders started taking positive delta positions. And that's shown by the rising purple line. And let's just see if we can get some clarity about what they were trading. So they started selling puts first, and then they started buying calls. So this is a situation where it often helps to change the look back period to a shorter time frame in the afternoon when there's been a lot of price action. So that changing back to this, again, this shorter look back period helps in this situation. Alright, the next one was Meta, and strong correlation between options trades, hedging activity, hedging flow, and price action. And driven by calls. Traders are buying calls. That's a powerful force that can drive a stock a lot higher. Traders buy calls, market makers sell the calls, and they have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. All right, let's take a look at Bookmap now. Go to Meta. And there was some jump in Meta after AP. Price reversed lower, and now just like the S&P 500 continues higher again. And the price targets are very obvious at 188 liquidity and at 190, and more above at 191, 192, and then the big price target up there at 195. So Meta has been continues to be bullish after reporting earnings last week. And recall yesterday it was the only stock on my key gamma strike list with a green key gamma strike. Everything else red, and Meta key gamma strike increased to 200. So there's Meta, and the next one is NVIDIA. We'll take a quick look at Moderna. Short today, earlier today, confirmation. Microsoft confirmation long after a move down. We can take a look at Microsoft in Bookmap. Pretty volatile day in Microsoft with pretty deep pullback entries. Let's go take a closer look at Hero again. And there's the confirmation long. Right in this area. And not as clear a read as Meta. And again, deeper pullbacks. Right, let's go to NVIDIA. Separate out puts and calls. And traders were buying calls. And as they started buying calls more aggressively, price starts to shift higher. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. At NVIDIA. And I believe NVIDIA did something like this yesterday. Pretty choppy for the first hour and a half, and then finally NVIDIA breaks out of its range. I've shown it by this rectangle here. NVIDIA finally, just pretty similar to the S&P 500, makes a series of higher lows, does a final retest, and then moves higher and breaks out of the range. With price targets up almost at every round number level. A lot of liquidity above. And now AP made it up to the 200 or 220 call wall before reversing lower. Went back and checked the 213 level and now is heading higher. Let's go back and take a look at Hero. See what traders are doing now. All right, so there's a question in YouTube. You just joined, welcome. Can we take a look at SPX? So we can take a look at SPX in Hero. We don't have that in Bookmap. That you can't actually trade SPX itself. So we'll just look at it, SPX in Hero. But I will tell you that if you want an indication of what's going on in the S&P 500, you're better off looking at SPY or ES. So regarding NVIDIA, there's not a lot of clue here. So we'll look at Tesla, and then I'll go back to the S&P 500. Tesla. And as usual, there's a very strong correlation between options trades, hedging flow, and price action, and provided confirmation for both short and long entries. Shorts and longs. Let's take a look at Bookmap. Tesla. And pretty choppy up and down day in Tesla. Trend break, reversal higher. Trend break, reversal higher. Trend break, reversal higher, and you could look at that, just the just the opposite as well. Trend break, reversal lower. All right, let's go back and take a look at the S&P 500 again. We'll go back to, let's actually go to SPY. Got a little more clarity here. Again, the levels are closer to exact. So now let's take a look at Hero. And what I want to do is first take a look at SPX. So this is SPX. Notice this number here. This is in dollar terms. So 82 million. And also think of this as delta. So price increasing is positive delta. So positive delta in the morning, then flattens out. Then it looks like it's rising again. So SPX, let's remember that number. Then we'll go to SPY. So there, this total number, 360 353 million. So SPY options, this dollar notional value is a lot higher in SPY than SPX. So this is why I prefer to look at SPY. Brent Kachuba, the founder of Spotgamma, has discussed that as well. He prefers to look at SPY. The SPX is, I think it's still pit traded, and SPY is definitely electronically traded. And traders, market makers have to respond. They don't know what's coming, so they have to respond more quickly with SPY than they do with SPX. And then the total signal, we'll take a look at ES. And this is a combined signal combining SPX and SPY options trades, calls and puts into one signal, and that's for ES. So if I'm looking at the S&P 500, I look at ES or SPY. So okay, let's take a look now at ES. Let's change this look back period. So pretty wavy here, chopping up and down. And again, recall when we looked at this a few minutes ago, traders were taking positive delta positions and doing that again. And so there's a question in Discord, Trader HE, just jumping in here late. Trading Powell, great. So what was the most important highlight? I don't know if there was an important highlight today. The positional analysis this morning was definitely neutral, and not a lot happened until Powell started speaking, and I don't know what he said. I think I heard that he initially said something like inflation is contained, or I'm not sure what the exact words were, and then he must have said something else that sent price lower. So based on gamma and gamma levels, let's take a look at, let's go back to Bookmap and look at SPY. I think it's most clear here that price jumped from the 410 key gamma strike straight up to 415, and this level should not be white. That was my mistake there. So 415, and then reverses lower down to the 408 C5 level. So those are the SPY levels. So I think really the keys were the levels in play. And then let's take a look at SPX. And this is the 4160 resistance level that was noted in the AM Founders Note. So let's just take a look at, I'm going to go to and I'm going to pop this up. All right, so let's go back to the Thinkorswim chart. and then pop up the levels so we can look at this. So this 4160 level was noted. It's not shown on this chart, but it was a level noted as resistance in the EM Founders Note. And for some reason, the 4165, well, actually, this is the 4165 ES is the 4150 level. So this is not showing any, and this is SPX in the left column here, not showing any levels between 4150 and 4200. So one thing that we can do, and this is just on the fly here, so I don't know if this is something that is going to be significant or not, but what we can do is go to Equity Hub, we'll go to SPX, we'll take a look at the composite view, and sometimes these, so there's the 4160 level. So that is where that resistance level comes from, that inflection point. And this is showing the Spotgamma momentum indicator. And it is showing the rate of change of gamma. And often these inflection points can act as support and resistance levels. So I think this is where that 4160 resistance level comes from. And that is also, we'll take a look at the Founders Note. That's probably also noted as SPY 415. So let's go here. So yeah, that's where that inflection point and this level right here. So 4150 to 4160, that's SPY 415. And there you go. SPY 415 resistance, as well as that 4160 inflection point in the SPX composite view acted as resistance. So the hero hedging activity was not a clear read for SPX this morning, but the levels really helped. So that's my take on it. So anyway, my time is up. I think I've answered all the questions. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your questions and comments. And I will see you tomorrow. Thanks again. Bye.